Welcome to episode 2 of Dishing with the Pathways DTMs. My name is David Lintz, and I'm pleased to be your host for an interview with another Toastmaster in our district who has earned the Distinguished Toastmaster designation under the Pathways program. Naomi Quinlan has been a Toastmaster for only a little over 5.5 years, but in that time, she has accomplished an impressive amount. In addition to earning her DTM, she has served her clubs in the roles of Vice President of Education, Vice President of Public Relations, and Secretary. An enthusiastic adopter of the Pathways program, she has earned a Triple Crown or a Pathfinder Award in every year that she has been a member of Toastmasters. Her service to the district includes 2 years as an area director for Area 72 and was part of an all-female team of area directors led by Division Director Missy Oliver and dubbed the G Girls by Missy. It also includes serving on the District Nomination Committee, the District Public Relations Committee, and the District Audit Committee. Naomi, thank you for sitting down for this interview. I think you have a lot of interesting things to share. Let me start by asking you about what you did for your DTM project.
Good afternoon, David. It's nice to sit with you as well. I did a journal and art supply drive to benefit Day One in Providence, Rhode Island. Day One is an organization that deals with sexually abused people.
So it sounds like a very worthy project. Can you tell us about some of the reasons you were passionate about doing this project?
Yes, I've always been very passionate about women's rights and, women's shelters and things like that has always been something that I've been passionate about, helping people who need help. They don't know where to turn. They need to change something. And a lot of times they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I find that it makes me feel good to be able to do something for them. And I feel like it's doing something for a sister of mine, so to speak.
And I can imagine in a time in your life when things are probably very stressful for these women, finding you or finding this organization, I'm sure they view as a godsend. So I think every DTM has a story to tell about some of the bumps in the road that they had to overcome in order to complete their project. So Naomi, could you tell us about some of the bumps that you had to overcome and how others might have helped you along the path to completing the project?
Definitely. Thank you. I had started my project. I had kicked it off. I spoke in front of my church. I spoke in front of my Toastmasters group and a couple of other groups that I belong to. Everything was going very well. And then COVID hit and the world stopped and we were all stuck at home. And it kind of made it a little more difficult. And I had to go back to my mentor team and ask, what can I do? I've started this project and now kind of dead in the water right now because of the state of the world. And it was suggested that I create an Amazon wish list and publish that so people could purchase off of Amazon. Amazon would have my address. They could ship it to me. And that way there, I didn't have to give out my address. People who knew me would drop things off on my porch, but that was the other way of being able to still do this project and collect items.
So as you talk about speaking in front of audiences, I can imagine that it's a little different than speaking to your Toastmasters club. And although I suppose it's the same set of skills we learn in Toastmaster, I would imagine it was a bit of an adjustment. Can you tell us a little about the experience of talking to a group where there was really something important at stake, your ability to get people excited about the project and contribute to it?
I did have to concentrate on my breathing, talk myself, you can do it. It's no different than talking to 10, 15, 20 people in a room. And then the thought of how passionate I was about this project and the importance for it to be completed and these items to be brought to this organization became the passion that let me not worry about how many people were sitting in front of me. And it was just about, these are all these people who can help get this project accomplished.
So I think that's really an interesting point in what you said. If the project is important enough, you find a way to get over whatever nerves you might be having or whatever, that it's not about you, it's about the people you're going to help. So I love that portion of it. So I'm curious, were you giving speeches to groups during COVID by Zoom, or that wasn't part of it?
The only one I did was my Toastmaster group.
Right,
Just to reiterate, I was still doing it, that it didn't stop because the world stopped.
right.
And then I had just sent messages out to my church, my church family, or the members of my church, to let them know about the change.
So inspiring people requires a specific set of skills and a particular way to speak to really get motivated to follow you in a particular path or to meet a particular objective. Can you tell me about some of the techniques that you use to inspire?
I think that just my passion alone helped with the inspiration. The fact that these are people who have been devastated by something that has happened in their lives. And one of the tools that this organization does for therapy is writing in a diary. It's also doing art projects that a lot of times when they're having a therapy session, they'll be given art projects to work on to kind of loosen them up to be able to discuss what has happened. So it was important for me to really stress how great it would be for this drive to be successful. And I think that you have to tug at people's heartstrings when you're doing something like this. And that's the only way that people open their wallets and say, yes, I need to help.
No, I'm sure that's the case. I think probably it's not just the heartstrings, but also to be able to say, and I'm going to do something that's actually going to help them. And art is a really important thing for people in this position. So I really like that aspect of it as well. So tell me a little bit about your lessons learned session. This sounds like it was basically your project and there were people who were contributing, but did you have a team around you that could help you with your lessons learned session and give you feedback?
I did. And one of the things is, I'm a planner, and I feel that once I put something in motion, it's going to be in motion. And they had to remind me that I had to have patience, that I had to think outside the box. This was definitely a situation where there was no other examples of how people have been able to get through some of these dead ends that I came up against. And they were the ones who really, they kept me calm when I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to complete this. I really want at least one full carload, my trunk and back seat full of items. And to me, that would be successful. And I did. I was able to do that. It was chock full. I was able to make one trip, but they really were good to guide me. And we really, and a lot of the things is patience and willing to think outside the box, and to find a different avenue when one doesn't work. Those were some of the lessons learned that I had.
So when we talk about doing a Pathways DTM, we talk about leadership skills, and I've heard you use a lot of leadership language as you talk about this in terms of persuasion, in terms of thinking outside the box, in terms of planning, all leadership skills. So those are, I suppose, some of the aspects you used. Are there other aspects of leadership skills that you used in doing this project? And can you talk a little bit about how you might have changed as a leader, hopefully for the better? by doing this project?
So I think I did become more flexible, and I think that was a great skill that I was able to learn and to take on, and to be patient. It's going to happen. I've gotten the word out. I've made people inspired to help, and yeah, I think that I wish I could say I delegated, but I didn't
Yeah,
do a lot of delegating. Uh,
it sounds like you
you
did a lot. Well, you
know, that
delegated the job of getting the particular supplies you needed. People weren't just giving money, I assume they were actually giving the product.
it was
Yeah,
product only. Yes.
yeah. So absolutely, that's delegation. So as there's so many things to talk about with this project, but I think we're running a little short on time. So do you have any closing thoughts or words of advice for prospective DTMs?
So my advice is to get something that you're passionate about, because when you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like a daunting task. That I think that as a DTM that we're supposed to be doing something for our communities, for our Toastmasters organization, things like that. And as long as you have passion towards it, I think you're going to do great. And that's what I would do. If I was to do another DTM, I would find something else I was passionate about and work on that.
I think that's great advice, not only for DTM projects or for how you live your life as a volunteer, but also in work. I think there's a saying that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Similar with volunteering, if you're going to spend time on something, and particularly something that you aren't doing as your job or getting paid for, the only real payment you're getting is the satisfaction you're getting out of it. So I think that's why it's so important to be passionate about what you do. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Naomi, for sharing a key part of your Pathways DTM journey. Very inspiring. Is the organization still going on, by the way, and there's still ways for people to donate to it?
Yes. And because of COVID, I wasn't able to get to the actual building. So I made arrangements with the Sojourn House in Providence, which is a women's shelter
Okay.
that would take them in, and the people from day one would take them from there.
I will include the information about that charity inside this interview, so people who are interested in contributing or learning more about it will be able to look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you who are viewing this and for your interest in dishing with Pathways DTM. As pet Toastmasters, we all know how valuable candid and constructive feedback can be. If you have any feedback that you are willing to share with me, I look forward to receiving it. The best way to reach me is by email at the following address. Until the next episode, be well and keep striving to achieve your goals.